Still Reflections. Inspired by the tranquil beauty of nature and its power to guide us within, Master Li drew open the bamboo shutters to greet the day's first light. Rosy fingers stretched across the sky, casting a warm glow over the forested valley. Li breathed deeply, invigorated by the cool mountain air. It was a beautiful morning to walk the winding path to the hidden lake. The old monk mixed a bit of tea to take with him before he set off. The journey was not overly long, but Li's legs could no longer carry him with haste. He did not mind. Each step would be taken with full awareness, in harmony with the surrounding woods. There was peace to be found in moving through the landscape with slow intention. Li followed the trail of worn earth as it twisted between massive boulders and the knotted roots of cedar trees. A light breeze sent leaves fluttering down around him like green snowflakes. Some came to rest atop the monk's knotted wooden staff or the fraying straw conical hat he wore. Li paused often to listen to woodland sounds, the knock of a woodpecker, the rushing of the stream he crossed on smooth stones. Insects hummed in the undergrowth as sunlight filtered down in radiant beams. The forest seemed to come alive in the dazzling glow. Li absorbed every sensory detail. To walk here was to experience a tapestry woven of light, sound, smell, and texture. Each component contributed to the beauty of the whole. At last the path opened up, and Li arrived on the misty shore of the lake. Its smooth surface mirrored the soaring forest and clouds above. Here was a world in microcosm, reflected inward upon itself in perfect stillness. No ripples marred the glassy plain. Along the water's edge, vivid green moss hugged weathered boulders and fallen logs. A family of ducks floated near the shadowy opposite bank. This was the spot Master Li had discovered decades ago during his early wanderings in the mountains. Then he had been a young monk, newly released from the monastery to seek truth on his own. The hidden lake had become a sanctuary for Li's daily meditation ever since. To sit in quiet contemplation here fulfilled him more than all the bustling duties in any temple. Over the years, the seasons had come and gone in endless procession. The elements had worn down the mountains, gently reshaping the stones and trees. Meanwhile Li's flesh had also succumbed to nature's patience, skin growing lined and hair fading to white as bones became brittle. Yet Li's spirit remained vibrant, drinking daily from this tranquil mere. Today he settled himself on a flat-topped rock near the water's edge. Lichens and moss provided a soft cushion. Li allowed the ripples caused by his arrival to smooth away completely before closing his eyes to begin meditation. His breathing slowed and mind stilled, drifting into calm awareness. Thoughts arose and fluttered past like the leaves twirling down around him. Li observed their passage with non-judgment. It was many years since he had needed to wrestle his mind into submission during meditation. Now his consciousness drifted along easily as a feather on the breeze. At times Li perceived a vision taking shape in the void behind his eyelids, a radiant landscape more vivid than any outer world. He knew this inner realm was the wisdom realm, always available to those whose sight grew clear enough. Its mythical mountains and waters represented the contours of Li's own mind. To travel there was to know himself truly. When the old monk finally opened his eyes again, the sun had climbed high overhead. Several hours had passed in meditative stillness. The hidden lake remained perfectly undisturbed, reflecting the trees like inverted jade. A jeweled reality hidden from the grasping world. Master Li rose mindfully, letting circulation flow back into his folded legs. He took a few moments to stretch out his stiff joints before following the forest trail back home. Ferns brushing against his robe seemed to bow respectfully as he passed. Birdsong echoed from the canopy, seeing the monk on his way. By the time Li reached his secluded stone hut again, the contents of his tea flask were depleted. He refilled the pot from a trickling spring that never ran dry, even in winter's deepest cold. The fresh water tasted pure and sweet. Li savored the refreshment after his long morning of peaceful contemplation. That evening Li sat beneath a blossoming plum tree near his home, gazing up at the moon as it rose over the mountain ridgeline. Its pearl radiance illuminated the forest in aquamarine mystery. In such resplendent nights the boundary between inner and outer worlds grew thin for the monk. Reality became translucent, infused by sacred light from hidden sources. As he drifted off to sleep that night, Master Li's final perception was of still waters, the crystalline hidden lake blending into his innermost self. He knew that soon enough he would follow the currents that guide all souls. But for now Li dreamed deeply of tranquil forests.